Welcome to a heavy edition of For the Sake of Heaviness. I'm Butch Balich. With me, as always, is the great
Merciful Mike. That is me, the
Russell
merciful
Mike
one.
Smith. Hope you're all doing well. Um, I don't know when this is going to air, but hopefully you've all been surviving the this winter snowmageddon.
Man.
We got pounded here in the Pittsburgh area. There's at least a foot of snow out there, I
Yeah,
would
you
say, and it's
you
cold, so
guys
it's not going to melt anytime soon.
no, you guys got all the snow and we had the sub-zero. I mean leading up to that storm that hit you, we were like it was like 20 below for a high for a couple of days, and then the wind chills were pushing things down into the negative 40s. It just was awful. And still, the highs around here in the last couple of days have only been in single digits, so but I mean, it's winter in Wisconsin, and I'm sure you're well used to all those Pittsburgh winters, so I get it.
It can be like temperate down here because of the way that the city's situated and the rivers and stuff. Like it doesn't. There's some winters it doesn't seem to get. We've had some mild ones the last few years, but this one has been. This has been one of those ones so far where it's I could tell, but I'm about done with this.
Yeah.
Or already, we haven't gotten a ton of snow this year, except for this one was been like huge. So it's like it's a veritable Celtic frost outside. I mean, it's
Yeah. No, we got hammered early. We had about 18 inches right before Christmas. Right between Thanksgiving and Christmas, we just kept getting snowstorm after snowstorm. We got probably up to about 18, 20 inches. And then we had a week where it was like 50 degrees. So everything just melted, and I was kidding the wife I was gonna go out and cut the grass because I was like, Jesus, I could probably do that if I really wanted to. And then it
go
just
out in
got
bare feet.
sub-zero. Yeah, it was nuts.
Yeah,
So what do you say we go from like the freezing cold down into the depths of hell?
the fiery pits of hell. We're going to talk about tonight. Mike and I have been. We actually like bandied this about a bandied. We've tossed this around a few times. What we're going to do is lay out our Slayer, fucking Slayer
Slayer.
mixtape. 10 songs apiece, side A, side B, that kind of thing. If you can burn your record at home or your cassette, maybe use a TDK D30
There you go.
instead of a D90, or get one of those ones that's like 15 minutes aside. You used to be able to get it like Radio Shack.
Kmart. We used to get Kmart tapes up here. I was
Yeah.
like one step below Radio Shack.
Yeah, you get those ones that just come in a plastic bag with no cases and
Right, right.
rip on you right away.
Those are the ones that we would tape stuff and then unscrew it and take the reels and flip them over, and then you could listen to shit backwards. So those were
Yeah.
our satanic tapes. Let's let's see if that Zeppelin really is satanic. What's
Very
the backwards
appropriate.
messages on Venom? Let's check it out.
Yeah, very appropriate for this one. But
Yeah,
I don't
so
know. Yeah, I mean, I thought this was actually we were talking a little bit before we started recording. Like I think if you're a fan of Slayer, like it's pretty hard to put something like this together, especially like if you go back to, I think if you go back to the beginning, I think I mean, those first handful of records are just so good that it's really hard to whittle it down. I admit, it took me a while. I've talked about this on the show before that it took me a while to kind of cotton to the some of the more like at the time what were more extreme bands like at the in the 80s for me, bands like Slayer and Venom and Celtic Frost, and then later on, a little bit later on, Sepultura. We're all pretty, in Death and Possessed, like that stuff was all pretty brutal. That all came down to the vocals for me. As time went on, I got more used to it. I was into Metallica pretty much right away, and then I had a buddy in high school that was like, he started out digging Metallica, and he even got he saw Metallica open for Ozzy at the Stabler Arena when Cliff was still in the band. The Puppets tour, and
yeah, Ultimate
he was
Sin
into
tour.
them. But once he discovered Slayer, he was like all up. And he had made me
Yeah.
a tape. He filled up. I gave him a Memorex, one of those yellow had the yellow J card and the it
Yeah.
was like the pink and whatever kind of like label um on it. He just filled it with Slayer stuff, and I would listen to that, and slowly like I would find things to that kind of like acted as the anchor for me, like the Angel of Death,
Yeah.
the middle that middle section, that where it gets into that mid tempo kind of stomp, or like that grinding riff and post mortem, like or in a the way piece by piece starts, in between the blazing fast stuff that was just so extreme to me that I was finding like riffs to latch onto, and then the more I listened to it, the more I adjusted to it, and of course, by the time that South of Heaven was out, I was a fan and I saw them headline Stabler Arena. It was them with Motorhead and Overkill on the South of Heaven tour, and
Oh,
man, that definitely cemented me as a fan. That was just so. They used like the dark gels on the lights and stuff. They put those dark greens
yeah.
on Tom, and then the dark reds. They had the huge backdrops like the Satanic Church,
Yep.
stained glass, and all that stuff. It was like I I still think it was one of the most intense shows I've ever seen. I remember I went with I definitely went with my buddy Josh, who I played in a band with, and I don't know if someone else. There were two or three of us. Oh, it was probably my buddy Chip went to. There were three of us probably went to that one, and that was heavy, man.
Yeah, those
But
early shows, I remember walking in and like you said, they really set the atmosphere. The whole visual stage vibe really, was a good
dude,
portrayal of what the music was, and it set that dark tone. Like as soon as you walked in, you're like, fuck, I'm at a Slayer show. you know, and it gives you that kind of a little bit of that feeling of dread, like, oh shit, should I be at a Slayer show? What's gonna happen tonight? It was that very overbearing feeling, and then through the years, the more you go see them too, they get more intricate, and they've got the crosses that start off and then turn upside down, and the flames, and they just up that so much, but those early years, up through I would say up through South of Heaven for sure. Those were some just oral assaults when we went and saw them. They were just nuts. And those are some of the most vicious pits I've ever seen. Those people, man, normally it's that, you fall down, somebody throwing a hand out there and helping you up. Man, you fell down in a Slayer pit and you were all on your own, man.
yeah,
That was nuts. Those are crazy times.
yeah, those were rough, man. I think I only got to see them. I saw them on that tour. I saw them Seasons in the Abyss, and then I didn't see them again until the Big Four in New York
Oh, okay.
in 20, whatever that was, 2010 or
Yeah.
something like 2011, something like that.
The last
I
time I
don't remember.
saw him, oh man, I think I could be totally wrong here. I think it was just Anthrax, Megadeth, and Slayer, but for some reason, I think I saw them with Lamb of God too. So I can't remember which one was actually the last time that I've seen them, but it was, yeah, probably 2010. I don't know. It's been a long time since I've seen them. Those were always good shows. So yeah, we're
Yeah,
we're
man.
putting together we're building the Ultimate Slayer album as we see it.
Yeah, this would be the, roughly like the playlist that I would put together 10 songs that I would listen to in the car.
Yep.
In, the 20 minutes it takes me to drive back and forth somewhere with no, the songs aren't this isn't like Rain and Blood length, but
All right. Well, why don't
yeah,
you
so we picked
start?
10 songs. You want me to start? I'll start.
Either way.
I'm this is not in any kind of preference order. I just went from the beginning up until as well as far as
The
I went.
end.
We'll see when we get there. But
Okay.
just so starting from the Show No Mercy record, um, I actually like probably maybe like one of the least obvious songs on here, but has always been my favorite Slayer song. I let me roll that back. Postmortem is my favorite Slayer song, but my second favorite Slayer song, my favorite song on Show No Mercy, is Metal Storm Face the Slayer. Like I just there's something about the Show No Mercy record that I know we all talk about. You know, everyone talks about Rain and Blood and Hell Awaits and
Sure.
South of Heaven to an extent, but for me, Show No Mercy like is kind of set off from
Oh
the
yeah.
catalog in a way because it's like that more like metal
Yep.
record. It's where the Maiden and Priest influence
100%. Yep.
really comes through more. It's less, it's heavy as hell and it's brutal, but it doesn't have that same um, brutality that one of my dogs just shit on the floor. Lily, hang on a second. Hang, give me one
I can I
second.
can I can edit this out.
God damn it, Rosie.
Actually, I'm lying, folks. I am not going to edit this. We're going to leave this in.
3 hours later.
So now that I've taken care of that,
Yes. Back to Slayer.
back to Slayer, back to Metal Storm Face to Slayer. We were talking about Show No Mercy, the most metal record of their
Yes.
catalog. Now, I don't mean like metal as in the heaviest. It's just the most metal. Like it really fits. There's a reason. Like it fit in with like what Metal Blade
Right.
was doing at the time. I mean, it has that vibe to it. They were still showing their influences and stuff. They had yet to truly turn the corner into what they what they became. I think with probably came into full fruition with Rain and Blood, but you started seeing on Hell Awaits for sure. So anyway, for me, I always love Metal Storm Faces Slayer. I love that whole the Metal Storm intro with all the double guitar stuff and then the song itself. I just love the riffs and stuff in it. And man, I that song just it's one of those ones that's on my list of I have this list, it's like this. Like if I were ever gonna do a covers record, like I probably brought this song up like anytime we talked about doing an EP or something with Argus. Um it's always been in like I'm like, well, what about this song? It's
Right.
like it's like Metal Storm Face the Slayer and Ruby Eyes of the Serpent, the two that are always on my list. And someday I will cover them. We'll see.
Keep an eye out. That'd be
Anyway,
cool.
so that's the first one. There's a lot of great songs on the record. That's the only one I have from this album. Moving on to Haunting the Chapel EP, I have the title track. I think it's just like brutally heavy and killer song. A lot of cool bits in it. One of the things I liked about Slayer was their ability to shift moods in the song and shift around the riffing. And actually, like this is one I wasn't as well. I'm not as over the years had not been as well acquainted with Haunting the Chapel as some of the other ones. For whatever reason, the EP kind of got past me. But really like been enjoying like listening to some of those those three tracks on there. And so this one for me was one I wanted to add.
Yeah.
Then moving to Hell Awaits at Dawn They Sleep.
Fuck yeah.
Still one of the best Slayer songs. Just yeah, just
Yeah.
so heavy and just the riffs in that song are killer. And man, I just love the whole vibe of that song. And Araya sounds killer on it. Great song for me. Then we move on to Rain and Blood, and I mean these three songs are never left their set,
Right.
so they're kind of ubiquitous in a way. I'm just going to name two of them right now because we're just doing the first five. But I mean, for me, I don't. There's a reason that these songs are classics. So for me, this is just where I'm at with these. Angel of Death. I don't think you can. You almost can't have a. You may have heard it a zillion times, but from the scream at the beginning to that
It's so
vicious
iconic. Yeah.
middle section, like where it kind of like ratchets down the speed a little bit, but it's just so grindy and heavy and just lyrically, the stuff that these guys were doing was always so it was always so dark to begin with, but to really like to when you turn away from the it's stuff like this, like where they're turning away from this purely satanic stuff into like now they're talking about something that's probably scarier even than singing about the devil when you're singing
Mhm.
about the Mengele's
Right.
experiments during the Holocaust. I mean, brutal, brutal stuff. Nightmare fuel for
Yeah.
sure. Um, so an undeniable classic. And then my favorite Slayer song of all time, Postmortem. Man, one of the greatest riffs ever. That the
And then that
man,
when
it's
he hit
just
that hi hat,
yeah, they
yeah,
just
yep.
oh my god, it's I yeah, I listen to this song like I crank it when I'm in a car. Just such an incredible riff and just that song. And then I love the fast part too, with "Do You Want to Die?" and
Yep.
just and that high note Tom hits in the middle of the song. Jesus, just everything about this song. It's like I love fast, brutal Slayer too, but I really, really love the when they get into those like grinding, like mid tempo kind of riffs, just like are
Abs-
so heavy. Like I don't know
Absolutely.
that there's not much heavier really than when they shift into that mode. So that's my side one: Metal Storm Faces Slayer, Haunting the Chapel, At Dawn They Sleep, Angel of Death, and Postmortem.
Love it. Love it. I would jam in the car with you on that on side one for
We
sure.
would headbang,
We
except from
shall.
a pinched nerve.
We will
Hope Man
not.
yells at Sky.
All right. I kind of went with the same thing. I went with, okay, if I'm driving, traveling someplace, these are the songs I love, I really dig. I did leave out a couple of songs just for the fatigue factor, where I'm like, yeah, I do. I love the song. Don't need to put it on a tape. And then I kind of tried to think of, man, this would be a cool side one opener, side one closer, and all that
Mm-hmm.
kind of stuff. So I tried to go with continuity a little bit, but it's all pretty subjective anyway. Um, so side one, I went with Hell Awaits title track, just because of that big swell up, that join us,
Yeah.
dude,
Yeah.
and then it's that, it just, I still get goosebumps every time I hear that song. It's just so good, just evil. It just sets the tone, man. Plus, I mean, just the whole song in general is classic. It's just
Yeah.
so good. And I've gone round and round for a long time. I would easily say, somebody's like, "What's your favorite Slayer album?" Oh, Rain Blood. But probably over the last 10 years, I've come around and I'm like, you know what? I think Hell Awaits is it. I think that is my favorite because there's just as evil and crazy and satanic as Rain and Blood is. Hell Awaits has a much more cerebral, dark, eerie, evil vibe to me. And it's the production's a little bit different, and it's just got that brooding, forbearing heaviness to it. So,
The
um,
visual of that album cover too, like that album cover was one of those ones that kind of like
yeah,
scared the shit out of me. The whole hellscape on the
yeah,
front. I mean, Rain and Blood, I thought was like I'm like, whoa. Like I was
yeah.
like that shit was satanic at the time. It's like what you look at that and you're like, Jesus. Like
Yeah. And you could sit and I remember like looking, I had the cassette. I didn't have the album when that came out, but you'd sit and look at that and you turn it upside down and you're like, well, there's a lot of shit going on in that cover. It's like, whoa. So yeah, I would have Hell Awaits open and then I would go right into Chemical Warfare. And
nice.
man, that EP, I think that was the originating point of that's the direction that they're going. Show No Mercy, like you said, still metal. They were still getting their foothold. But when Chemical Warfare came out, it's like, okay, that's the trajectory. And they took that and went as extreme as they could with it. And again, it's just that there's something about the tone on that too, where those guitars are just that gravelly grind. You know, chemical.
Yeah.
Man, just so good. That's another one you just can't help but just smash your head.
Yeah.
And then a little bit more on the recent side, Ditto Head. Um, Everything beyond Seasons in the Abyss was kind of touch and go for me. I've always been a purist when it comes to bands, so Lombardo leaving was like really heavy for me because I like idolized that guy at the time.
Yeah.
So I was like, Slayer, what's going on? Why? And I didn't get into the politics of it. I was just like, it was kind of like a Peter Criss moment for me when I was younger. Like, you can't get rid of Peter Criss, not Kiss anymore. I sort of felt that way about Slayer. I was like, you can't get rid of Lombardo. But as much as I didn't want to admit it, I really did like Ditto Head. That song's just got a real cool fucking punchy drive to it. I was like, okay, well, I'll give him that. So I do still like to pop that one on occasion. So from Ditto Head, I went to Behind the Crooked Cross.
Yes.
I remember buying South of Heaven. It was during the summer. I think it came out in the summer, or maybe I just didn't get it till the summer. But the record store we went to was Grand Central Records and Tapes, and you were at the first days of the Doomed, and it was right around the corner from where you guys were playing. It's
Hmm.
long gone, but it used to be right around the corner, and it's really close to the lake. So we went, bought South of Heaven, and popped it in the tape deck, and we drove up and down the lake shore for like fucking hours, just back and forth listening to South of Heaven until like we had it like ingrained in our skulls like the same day we bought it. I do remember thinking like, what the just because I was so used to that hyper speed of Rain and Blood that
Uh-huh.
when South of Heaven started, it was that really slow build, and even when it kicked in after that big drum roll, it's like, I was like, okay. And even going into the first chorus, it was, there was some double bass going on, but I was like, where's the thrash? So I mean,
Yeah.
overall, it was definitely, nothing came close to Rain and Blood speed wise, but after a couple of spins and the heaviness, and you let those riffs breathe, we were like, oh shit, this is amazing. So yeah, Behind the Crooked Cross, that was one of my instant favorites off of that album. And then okay, I'm gonna cheat just a little bit. If you combine, I had to look it up real quick because I was like, yeah, if you combine the times of these, it's like 7 or so minutes. And I'm gonna pretend I have a TDK 90-minute tape. Maybe it's a chrome tape. Remember those? Everybody had to have a chrome tape.
Yeah.
Um, I just can't separate Postmortem and Rain and Blood. They just they just go together. I can't separate those. So Postmortem, for everything that you said, it's just, oh my God. And then the title track, Rain and Blood. What else is there to say about that? As many times as I've heard that damn song, it still gives me chills every single time. And it's a perfect not only conclusion of the album, but if this is side one of my tape, man, what a blend out with the thunder. Just gets me going. I can't wait to flip it over. So I'm cheating just a tiny bit, but it's my tape. I can cheat if I want to.
Yeah. Cheat all you want. It's my tape, and I'll cheat if I want to.
So I got Hella Weights. I have, where did I go here? Chemical Warfare, Ditto Head, Behind the Crooked Cross, and then Postmortem, Rain and Blood. That's my first side.
Nice. Well, speaking of raining blood, starting
Yeah.
outside too for me. I have to do my tape like they would do sometimes in the 70s where a song would like or like on an 8 track or like even some cassettes where it would fade out and then fade in and then so side to the way those two songs run together, postmortem
Yep.
kind of runs out and you just fade it back in on side two. But I love Raining Blood. I mean,
Yeah.
Jesus, I mean that song is just like the that's another one too that like when I'm in the car, I'll do this thing, I'll listen to the part leading up at like regular volume, kind of regular volume for me. Like if you get in my car, first of all, my hearing's shot, and so everything's louder anyway. But then when it comes to the
Yeah.
like then I'll crank it like right when when it starts like ramping up there after the um man, I like you said, it is hard to separate those songs. It's
Yeah.
just the way that my list fell.
No, I get
So
it.
Raining Blood, I mean, it's a must have for me. Again, it's one of those ones that I don't care how ubiquitous it's been in the Slayer set. It's
Yeah.
just a godly song.
Actually,
Incredible.
now that we're talking about Rain and Blood, were you at one of the actual Blood shows? I know they didn't do a ton of
No, I haven't.
those. I thought one of the stops for that was like specifically Pittsburgh, though. I could be completely wrong, but I don't know why that just
Well, that's
popped in my
possible,
head.
but I've only ever seen them. I saw them on South of Heaven. I saw them on Seasons in the
Oh,
Abyss,
okay, okay.
and then I didn't see them. I seem to miss them every time they came to Pittsburgh. I was supposed to go to the farewell tour, and I had a calendar kerfuffle
Mm,
with my ex, and in terms of who was supposed to have the kids, and
sure, I
so
gotcha.
I ended up I gave I gave my tickets to my buddy Barry, and
Uh,
then he took me to see Uriah Heep.
okay,
So
fair enough.
so yeah, but then I did see, but they didn't do the blood thing
Okay,
at the Big Four.
I
It would have
gotcha.
been cool to see though.
Yeah,
Like
I have the DVD of I don't know why I thought that was recorded in Pittsburgh. I'm probably way off, but I've got the DVD of that show, and it's 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 pretty impressive at the end. It's kind of funny because Hanneman actually missed it. I think he went for a guitar switch or something when the blood came down. So the rest of the guys are like just fucking coated in it. And Hanneman's walking around trying to catch every last little drip to get it on. I'm like, yeah, me too, man. But I don't know why I remembered that.
that's
But
awesome. Yeah, so Raining Blood, and then okay, moving on to the South of Heaven album. I got the title track. The first time we did like similar, except we didn't drive around for hours after we got it, but we did go when this came out, and my buddies and I all bought it, and um, you know, it was so different at first, like you said, like that slower
yeah,
kind of the title track is like wow, and to me that was like all right, cool. Like this is it gives me a little bit more to dig into, um, to latch onto since I was just kind of like acclimating to higher velocities and things like that. And I just love like the riffiness and stuff. But man,
yeah,
what a killer song! It's still one of my. I love that harmony guitar part.
yeah,
That main motif in the song is awesome.
yeah.
One of the funny things about that record too, like just in general, this isn't on my comp, but I don't remember if it starts side two or but where Ghost of War,
Mm-hmm.
uh, how it starts out like kind of quiet, and I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with my tape? Like, and then all of a sudden it was like the first time I heard it, like I was like it like scared me because I wasn't expecting like it gets all quiet and then you get lulled and then all of a sudden it like punches you
Yeah. Oh
in the
yeah.
fell. I'm like, oh, they meant to do that. There's the volume. My tape's not screwed up. It's the so yeah. The next one I had in here, same as you, Behind the Crooked Cross.
Yeah, great
Man,
song.
yeah, and it's interesting on that one too. Like this is one of those ones where Araya is like he starts to like he's like using that different voice instead of just pounding like the that his bellow
Mm-hmm.
kind of. He's got that. He was never like a clean, a good clean singer,
Right.
but like his quote unquote singing voice, um, there in that song. So it's kind of like it's interesting. This is where on this album that it kind of he starts blending that in. You'll hear it more. He'll work that in over the years. But man,
He worked his range a lot more on Rain and Blood. Or I'm sorry, on South of Heaven. His range was a lot
yeah,
wider.
and then going into Seasons in the Abyss too, like
Yep. Yep.
he yeah, I mean, Behind the Crooked Frost is killer though, man.
Yeah.
It's probably my man. I guess it's a toss up between that and the title track for me for my favorite on that album. But I thought of that one immediately when I was like, oh, I got to put that one
Yeah.
on here. Moving on from that one, moving on to Seasons of the Abyss. My main jam from this album and still one of my favorite Slayer songs is Spirit in Black.
Good song.
Um,
Yeah.
again, just like the the different tempos and moods and stuff in it. And I love, Tom's voice is vicious on it, and
Oh,
just a just a killer song. I was glad to see them, got to see them play it live too. And man, just the great underrated song. Everyone knows War Ensemble and the
yeah.
title track from that album, and Dead Skin Mask, I think, is another favorite of people. And I like all those songs a lot too. Don't get me wrong. Like, I love this record, but Spirit Black is just like,
It's a badass song, man.
it
Oh
is
yeah.
badass. Totally. And then I'll wrap mine up. The last number 10 for me. And it's not like I don't appreciate songs beyond a certain point in the catalog, but I just, in terms, I had a list of like 23 or 24, and when I whittled it down, that's just the way it ended up. The oddball for me, in a way, was having I got SS, 3 from Divine Intervention, which
Yeah.
I love the production on the song. It's just so heavy, and I don't know, just on that album. That album's one like two, like I don't know, I kind of discounted that one at the time it came out. I didn't buy it right away, and I actually don't even think I don't even think I own it yet. I kind of
I have
like,
it on CD.
yeah, I don't know that I don't think I ever owned Divine Intervention, and it's one of those ones over the years where people like, some people have a cutoff point
Hmm.
for Slayer. Most people, if someone has a cutoff point, it's usually after Seasons in the Abyss. But I've
Yeah.
noticed that a lot of people like this record, so it's one I've gone back to and tried to acquaint and reacquaint myself with. And it's, there's a lot of good stuff on Diviner. It's a much better record than I remember when hearing parts of it when it first came out. And this song just stuck out to me as,
Sure.
you know, really good. And then after this album, there's some cool stuff. Like if you want me to do my bonus,
Yeah. What's your
the
Japanese bonus track?
my Japanese bonus track would probably be Gemini from
Oh wow.
Undisputed Attitude. Just a different mood for them.
Right. Right.
Kind of creepy song.
Sure.
Um, it the Altar Sacrifice. We talked about that one
Yeah.
earlier because I love that whole bit in the middle and the praise hail Satan, Satan, Satan. So yeah, those would be my Japanese only bonus tracks.
That's kind of funny that you mentioned Undisputed Attitude. We actually saw that tour, believe it or not. I don't know. I've never really heard too many people that talk about seeing them on that particular tour. And I don't know if it was just because there was so much punk stuff that was covered on that album, but they were like just ferocious that night. And I remember when they played Mr. Freeze, the place went just berserk. I was like, "Damn, man, this place is really going tonight." But that was a fun tour to check out. So good stuff, man. All right, so if I'm flipping over my 90-minute Chrome tape. Is it a BASF Chrome tape? Is it a TDK? Is it a Maxwell?
Massive, probably a TDK or a Maxell, or if you couldn't afford a Maxell, so those are the most expensive ones. You get the TDK D90 or like
Yeah,
Memorex were a little bit cheaper,
yeah.
but the
Or the,
Maxells were like a little bit stronger.
or like we were saying, you could just get the Radio Shack and the
Yeah,
Kmart
the
three pack.
Surtron.
Yeah. Or you steal your sister's Whitney Houston tape and you put some tape
Yeah,
over the squares and just tape right over that shit too. So all right, side two for me. I'm starting off with World Painted Blood.
that's a
I
gooder.
love that song. I like the album a lot. I actually liked it more than I was expecting to. I think there's some really good stuff on there. I was always drawn to Lombardo, so I think he's got some great performances. But that title track alone is just fast and furious. And I think Araya puts on one of his best vocal performances on that whole album right away on the title track. And just the way that song moves and the ending of it is fucking awesome. So World Painted Blood into Kill Again. I gotta say, man, I love Halloween, period. But Slayer's like the master of the hyper pause. There's just something about those songs where they stop for like that instant and then
Yeah,
just and but it doesn't die down the absolute rage of what they're playing. And it just sounds so damn heavy. So in Kill Again, where it's like that homicidal man with that snare crack, and then and it's like right back into where they're going at that every time, man. It just fucking gets me every single time. So hell yeah, Kill Again. I love that song. So after we do that, we go into Dead Skin Mask. I
yeah,
mean, you know, do the outro of that song too with the screams and the
yeah,
girl
dude.
talking and all that. I
Shit
mean,
is dark.
everybody knows the story behind that one, especially if you're from my area. But just a freaking awesome song. And then Show No Mercy. I gotta go with Black Magic. Just such a
Classic.
classic. And the riffage on that too. Just a classic song. And like you were saying earlier, there's a reason a lot of these have stuck around for the duration of the band's tenure because
Yeah,
they're just so good. So and I've left off a couple. I don't have I don't have Angel of Death or South of Heaven. Love those songs, but there's just a bit of a fatigue value with those. But
yeah.
like when it comes to like Black Magic, no way. I can listen to that anytime. And then wrapping it up with Mandatory Suicide.
Oh, it's a good one.
Suicide. It just yeah. You can see how stupid I get over these songs. Somebody's gonna be in the comments going, "This guy, I don't know, man."
That's what they're all doing the same thing, man. All the
Yeah,
nerds that would watch us anyway would be like singing the riffs and
yeah,
headbanging and
they
air
probably
guitar.
are. Yeah,
Everyone out there knows that you've all gotten out a tennis racket and ran up and down the sidewalk in front of your house, like with your
oh man,
boombox going while you're listening to Dawkins and Metallica and Judas Priest and Black and Blue. I mean,
yeah. And if you're
you've
saying
rocked
you
out with
haven't,
it.
you're a fucking liar, man.
You've rocked out with a tennis racket.
If I had to throw my Japanese bonus track on there, man, this was tough. It was either going to be Crypts of Eternity, which is just badass, but I think I would probably end up going with Die by the Sword, just
That's
because
a good
it's
one.
just a classic and it's like dun, 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 Die by the Sword.
Yeah.
Just me being an idiot again. So did you end up giving your album, your Slayer jam list an actual title? I know we talked
Yeah.
about like naming your tape.
I called mine since the band is, well, I mean, I guess they're technically, I mean, they're still doing shows occasionally, but I called it real original. I called it Postmortem.
Okay. That's all right. You can do that. I was gonna end up calling mine Praise House Satan, the satanic verses of Slayer.
Oh, that's way
That's
better.
kind of
I was not,
it's kind of
that's
generic
way
too, though.
better than mine.
It's over the top, that's for sure.
I love that.
Uh,
I'm
so
gonna put that on mine anyway.
you can do that. You can definitely
I'm
do
gonna
that.
steal yours.
Yeah, I'm looking at my list. I had a whole bunch of other ones on here too. I had Eyes of the Insane, Skeletons of Society, 213, Altar Sacrifice, Piece by Piece, which
I
is
had piece. I had piece by piece. That's man, that song is great. That was always like the mini postmortem to me, like because of
yeah,
that riff. Like at the beginning, reminds me of the main riff, and but then it gets so fast.
yeah. I that is one of the faster ones on Rain and Blood
I
too,
love
man.
how it ends too. Piece by piece.
Yeah. Don't get my Texas. Piece by piece. Piece by piece.
I had I had Captor of Sin
Oh
on my
yeah.
list. I had Cryonics.
Yeah.
I had Tormentor.
Yeah, another good
Um,
one.
Black Magic at one
Yeah.
point. Um, Seasons in the Abyss. World Painted Blood. I don't know. There were so many to pick from. Oh, like I said, Altar of Sacrifice. I ended up as my bonus track.
Yeah. War Ensemble was
Um,
kind of hard to leave off too. I like that song
yeah,
a lot too.
that's a great. I love that song. I just, it's hard to like, you don't want to like have them all come from the. I almost made a rule for myself that I could only have two per album tops, and
Yeah.
but or no more than two from any given record. But I was like, yeah, I can't do that with Rain and Blood. I need to have those three. So
Sure, sure. No, I get it. I get it. You know, and then I could not get into Christ Illusion or God Hates Us All. You know, I suppose, you know, maybe if I were to go back and give it another listen, I'd find something, but I had the record store at that time, and when God Hates Us All came out, I was really intrigued. I was like, okay, man, maybe this will be really, really good. And I was like, this really, really sucks. You know, new metal was the rage of the day, and it was brutally honest that they were, you know, trying to capture a little bit of that excitement. But for Slayer, it didn't translate.
yeah, you know what? Surprisingly for me, like in going back through some of these records, some of these I bought over the years. I remember buying God Hates Us All. I bought Christ Illusion when they came out. It was funny too. The one chain around here, the Record Exchange, would do sales when Slayer put out a new one. And I remember when Christ Illusion came out, they had it on sale for $6.66
Of
on
course, right?
CD. It's kind of hard to not go for that sale. But
Yeah.
going back, like there's actually, I was surprised Diabolus and Musica wasn't as bad as. It's not one I would reach for every day or anything, but there were some good songs on there, especially towards the end.
Yeah.
Um, None of their records I think are bad. It's just that I feel like if anything, it's just the some of the new metal stuff I could do without, but some of it I just feel is like after a while, some of their ideas kind of dried up a little bit. They were repeating themselves,
Mm-hmm.
or trying to I don't know. The writing just isn't as sharp on those later records. Not that they're terrible records or anything like that, but they just, and it's
No.
also when you come up with a band. I mean, it's tough when you're a band to
Yeah.
keep up the songwriting, and then especially once Jeff passed.
Yep. Things got a
I
lot
mean, it's
different.
hard to match his writing.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, I kind of tend to forget about Diablos and Musica. I forgot to even mention that one, but it's kind of a
It's
forgettable
definitely their
album
most
for
new
me.
metal,
Very,
and new
yeah,
metal.
yeah, yeah. It's. I mean, if that's what you like, hey, don't listen to me. I'm not a huge fan of it. So you know, growing up with Slayer, and then they kind of try to go to that direction, just seemed like kind of a commercial cop out. So I wasn't really on board for that. But hey, what do I know?
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it hurt their career much, but I'd say definitely from talking to people that's definitely the least well regarded
Yeah,
Slayer record in the whole catalog. It's potentially a record that could have hurt their career, but Slayer's always had like that bass that just wasn't gonna. I think was never gonna totally give up on them. Slayer fans, a lot of hardcore Slayer fans are Slayer fans
life.
for life. That stereotype of the fucking Slayer, like that's real. I mean,
No, I know.
that's not a parody. I mean, that's like how Slayer.
You got them
You know,
fuckers carving the logos in their arms and shit.
yeah,
That's a
dude. I mean,
lifer, man.
Slayer is like a lifestyle
Yeah,
for some
it
people,
is.
man, and they're definitely one of the most. Yeah, it can't be denied. One of the most, whether you like them or not, one of the most, and which we both do.
Yeah.
Um, Jesus, very few bands have been more influential in metal uh, than Slayer was,
Yeah.
and revered by their, and for a band that probably out of the big four,
I think out of the big four,
they
they
didn't
had
sell
the
the.
most
I don't think that.
identity.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they sold the least amount of records either. Anthrax probably sold the least
Yeah,
overall, but
I'd go with that too.
Slayer never had like the huge commercial success that Metallica, of course, and then even Megadeth had like much
Hmm.
bigger commercial success in terms of record sales and stuff. But
Sure.
Slayer managed to like through staying true, I think, to being heavy and um, always putting on a great show. Like
Yeah.
that live show, like they're one of those bands that kind of like, if you were going to use an example, it's kind of like in the way in the 70s, some bands like a band like Kiss at first, before they had successful records, they built up a huge following just by
Yeah.
touring constantly. And Slayer built up that loyal fan base by
Right.
connecting with people, kids that were into heavy stuff and didn't want to see they wanted nothing to do with glitz and glamour, and they just
Right.
wanted heavy and
Yep.
brutal, and they managed to keep that base like to where they could play like big places throughout their
Yeah.
career like that. They never really had to step back into doing like clubs or anything like that again. They
No,
were always, once they were into theaters, that
that
was
was
the
it.
smallest that they played
Yeah.
it was theaters and arenas
Yep.
for
Yeah.
them.
Once I made that step up, that was that. Yeah, I agree. I just always thought for me, there was always the undeniable parallel between Metallica and Megadeth. That was never going to go away. And Anthrax had a little bit more of that, like groove and the integrated rap and stuff like that.
A little bit
And
more punk too.
yeah, yeah, and Slayer was just fucking evil. That was Satan's band. That was Satan's
Yeah.
part of the big four. And to me, they always stood out on that identity alone. That just however you rank the four, that put them ahead of the pack for me. Because I was like, these guys are just they're balls out going for it, And where Metallica would kind of change styles a little bit. I mean, they all did eventually, but I don't know. Slayer was just savage. They were just they had that extra edge for me anyway. But
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, um, they kept it, whether or not you appreciated them dipping into new metal or trying some more, at the time, modern
hmm
sounds with their tuning and things like that. You can't deny it. It can't be denied they didn't veer from being heavy, like
no,
Metallica
no,
veered.
yeah,
Pretty. Megadeth did
right,
too.
yeah,
I think Anthrax and Slayer, especially Slayer, stayed pretty true to at least still. Anthrax arguably got heavier when Belladonna
hmm
left, and they modernized their sound a little bit too. I don't think they ever did like a wimpy record, but Slayer never did a record that wasn't
just
pretty
balls
brutal.
out. Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
just
I agree.
four to the floor, heavy. They never went for love songs or anything like that. There weren't ballads.
And there was no radio hits. You might
No,
hear you might hear Megadeth and Metallica on the radio fairly often, and Anthrax, but you know the commercial FM stations. I don't think I ever hear Slayer. I mean, unless I'm
dude,
I'm
that
missing something, but you know
Slayer
what I
was
mean?
always really relegated to like metal shows. It was
Yeah.
especially shows. Um, maybe if a mainstream radio station had had like some a call, an all request or something, but they never got. I
No.
never remember hearing like the big radio station out here in Pittsburgh is WDVE, and I never remember hearing Slayer
Yeah.
on DVE outside of if they did something for metal, like WPTS, which was
hmm
Pitt's radio station had an overnight metal show, and you'd hear Slayer there, but
Yeah. Well, even just like the AOR stations around here that are actually still on FM waves. You'll always hear Metallica, Sandman, Till It Sleeps, whatever. You'll hear Symphony of Destruction easily. Even on a rare occasion, they'll throw Indians on there, but you don't ever hear like, the DJ ramping up. Here's Rain and Blood from Slayer. You don't ever hear that.
yeah,
So I think that kind of says something too that, they kind of Slayer stayed, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. Not underground, I don't know, grassroots. They stayed the fan friendly. They didn't sell out, so to speak, for that radio hit. But
yeah. I mean, really, for as big as they were, I the only other analogs to that are like I don't remember Pantera getting a ton of mainstream radio airplay. Maybe like there was a station out here. There is a station out here called the X. Now I don't
Mhm.
listen to it, but I think the X would dabble with Pantera a little bit around the time of Vulgar Display and
Sure.
far beyond. But it was like, those bands, Slayer and Pantera, and then later on, Lamb of God and
Oh,
some
sure.
of these bands like managed to a lot of those bands managed to build followings without having like significant radio airplay, which is
Right.
amazing to me. That you could be that heavy and have a following that big.
Yeah. Based pretty much solely on people buying your album because it wasn't getting radio play. So there's a lot to be said about that, that it was still a strong purchase point, that drove the popularity there. So,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they built that base and the base loved them and never really let that go.
right.
Like it was like, they like I think it's like a blind buy for
Yeah.
especially if you got sales where a record store selling them for 666. So
I'm a
that's an
sucker for a
easy.
good marketing
I'm gonna
scheme,
go out and
man.
buy that new Slayer record for $6.66.
I didn't even take the price tag off, man. Check it out.
That's what I should have done. I should have just left it in the plastic.
You don't think of that shit. I know. That would have been cool.
2 copies. Get 2 copies for that.
Right. All
For
right. So
under
what do you guys
$14,
think?
you get have two. Yes, sorry. I'm rambling.
Comment. You guys have been blowing up the comments lately, and it's been a lot of fun. We respond as fast as we can to you guys, but tell us, give us your build your ultimate Slayer
10
tape,
song.
Slayer album. Tell us what it is. Include your Japanese bonus track.
Include your Japanese bonus tracks.
We want to know. We want to see what it is. Always, if you're enjoying what we're doing, please like, please subscribe. Go ahead, Butch.
Tell your friends about us.
Make sure you hit that notification button so every time we've got new content that comes out, you're first to know. And if you haven't already, Butch and I and three of our closest friends, we've got a brand new, I don't know, spin-off segment. I don't know how you want to call it, standalone. But once a month, we get together and we do the ranking table where we agree on a random year. We each pick a random album and then we rank them 1 through 5. And it's been on our first episode came out and it's been a lot of fun. So check it out too.
Yeah, it
So,
was fun. Yeah, check it out. And we'll have a lot of great stuff coming up. We got some interviews on the way and
yeah, yeah.
some reviews and all kind of stuff. So thank
Been
you
good.
for everyone that we're into the new year now, and thank you to everyone that spends time with us, like
Yeah.
watching the show. We definitely always appreciate it. Mike and I went into this because we're nerds and wanted to have fun just talking about music with each other. We'd be doing it anyway. So it's cool, for you to take the time to when there's a lot of options out there.
Yeah,
We
a lot of
really
good
appreciate
options. Yeah,
you.
yeah. I
Yeah,
I I
checking out a
completely.
couple of non-professional boneheads.
If you like your content on the nerdy side, you've come to the right place. But yes, I agree with Butch's sentiment. We do appreciate all of you, everyone who subscribed, and all of you that are just checking in and seeing what it's all about. So until next time, we'll see you again on For the Sake
For the sake
of
of
Heaviness.
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 Heaviness.